Hey everybody, welcome back to Inside the Forest. Dave Cottingham here with Hannah Burr. Good evening, Hannah.
Good evening. How are you?
I am doing great. How are you?
I'm great. No,
Yes.
I really am great, but I'm tired. I'm just
Yeah.
tired.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot going on right now. A lot going on.
Yes.
But we are here doing episode 425 of Inside the Forest. Got a lot of little announcements to make on here that we are following in the news right now. And then ultimately, we'll talk about some other things that a little more serious later. Unfortunately, we lost somebody in the Star Wars universe this past few days. We'll talk about that a little bit. But first and foremost, again, thanks to our patrons for their continued support. Like I said, we mentioned a couple episodes ago and last week that we recorded. We started our commentary series that we're recording. I'm still working on that. That should be out this weekend. I think I'll have it out by then. Had a couple of our patrons join us on there. We appreciate it because we live streamed and we opened it up for them. And just finishing that up. That'll be out. But look for our episode 2 commentary later on this month. We'll let you know what dates that's going to be. Probably do the same thing. Probably put a link up on our Patreon if anybody from there still wants to join us. But some good conversations on episode 1.
Absolutely.
That we had. Yeah. Okay, let's see. First and foremost, we want to acknowledge something that we've been a part of for the last few years, and that is Star Wars Podcast Day, which is February 7th, which is the day we're recording this. So Star Wars podcasts have been putting out episodes this week celebrating, which is the 25th anniversary of Star Wars podcasting. So we are participating in that. This post we'll have mentions of it and things like that. So just for everybody that hasn't listened to us the last few years when we were part of this, it is the anniversary day of the very first broadcast of a Star Wars podcast, basically. And so we are participating and just gonna mention it out there. Obviously, we've been a part of it, but we've also been podcasting a long time ourselves, which is pretty crazy because I don't know if you realize, Hannah, but this year Inside the Force is our 11th. It will be our 11th anniversary here.
Well, congratulations on 11 years.
Yeah, coming up actually in about a month. March, I think, is when we started, which is crazy to think. But yeah, been around doing this for a long time. But again, it's hard to think that it's been 25 years since the first Star Wars podcast. Because if you think about that was, what is that, 2000? No, wait, 25 years. So it's 2000, or it's 1999, right?
1999.
Yeah. So the year that episode 1 came out, this is when it started. So February 7th, it was a podcast called Jedi Talk, and they premiered it back in 1999 on February 7th. So there's your 25th anniversary Star Wars podcast news. So we are happy to be a part of it. And, I think part of it is just the recognition that, there's a lot of Star Wars podcasts, obviously. I mean, lots. And of course, we appreciate anybody that's listening to us or watching us. But, there's a lot to choose from. So go out there and listen to as many as you can, find other ones and, give them some love as well.
Yeah.
Because, it's not, it's fun, but it's not, necessarily easy. It takes time and effort to get on here and talk about this week after week and plan these things out and things like that. So, and you're in it now, so you get it now, right, Hannah?
Yeah, exactly. But happy Star Wars Podcast Day.
Yes. Happy Star Wars Podcast Day to everybody. Podcast week. People putting out episodes all week, so go check that out. You can probably, everybody's posting these with the hashtags Star Wars Podcast Day, so just do that, and you can find all kinds of episodes to check those out.
Yes.
Okay, so other news about Star Wars. I think it's incumbent of us to mention that the Saturn Awards took place recently.
Yes.
And now the Saturn Awards, which I obviously haven't been that familiar with, only because Star Wars, really. But they're centered around more sci-fi based content, right?
Yes.
Sci-fi, adventure, or things like that. I mean, it's not necessarily like the Oscars, obviously. You won't find those movies in the Saturn Awards.
No.
So big night for Lucasfilm. Andor, had, let me see, I'm trying to look, I had the winners in front of me, but
Andor had a big night, didn't it?
Yeah, so they took home the award for Best New Genre Television Series. And, they took out Best New Genre. The Bad Batch won Best Animated Television Series for a second year in a row. And then, let's see. And then, of course, Dave Filoni was honored with the prestigious George Powell Memorial Award. Yeah, so that's great. And then Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny actually won Best Fantasy Film. And John Williams won for Best Film Music for the Dial of Destiny.
Of course he did.
I know. Of course he did.
I think he actually, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure John Williams has won the most Academy Awards.
I think that is a safe bet, yes. I think that is.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy has created, obviously, the most iconic musical score ever. So, yeah. But here it is right here. Saturn Awards are presented by the Academy of... So they actually are presented by the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films, honoring genre, entertainment, and everything with an edge.
That's awesome.
So there you go.
I'm so glad that those awards exist, and it's actually like it's a respected award, because, as you said, I mean, the best that you normally see with those type of films at the Oscars is visual effects, editing. That's what you're going to get. I think everybody was kind of surprised when Black Panther. It was either Black Panther or Wakanda Forever, or both. They were up for quite a number of awards, and I think people were shocked by that because that's not common. So, the fact that these awards actually take a moment to acknowledge all the talent that goes into these pieces of art is incredible.
Totally agree. The Oscars, I think Black Panther was up for Best Picture, which was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But you're right. The Oscars, and they tend to go with, A-lister actors and A-list directors and stories that are very dramatic.
I mean,
cinematic.
That's where the whole phrase, that's an Oscar bait movie comes from.
Right. Yes.
Because it ticks all the boxes.
That's right. Yep. So it is great to see these type of films being honored.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad thing that that's what the Oscars do, but it's great to see, as you said, these movies and television shows get honored in another way.
Yeah, I've always felt I've always been confused on, and again, they've got the reasons, I'm sure. I've always been confused on why the Oscars don't give awards for different genres. You know, um,
That's an excellent point. They just do drama or comedy or musical. Comedy
no, they
slash
don't even.
musical.
That's the Globes.
Oh
The
shoot,
Oscars
you're
don't do that
right.
at all. The
Oh
Oscars just have one.
wow.
They have one Best Picture category, and that's it. I mean, so occasionally you will see a comedy in there, like a comedy slash drama. Sometimes, occasionally, I think you could probably look up some that have been up for Best Picture, and of course, Star Wars was up for Best Picture, which
Yes.
is rare for a science fiction movie. I would say rare because eventually you got like Space Odyssey was, I think Space Odyssey won Best Picture, and then you've got like Interstellar was up for Best Picture.
But I think those
So
fall into they fall into the category that the Oscars specifically look for, even though they're technically sci-fi. But they are,
correct.
I would call them soft sci-fi. I would classify them as something else.
Well, that's I agree with you. I think they're true sci-fi movies. Like they're Earth-based, human-based. Like where Star Wars is
Yeah.
sci-fi fantasy. So you throw that aspect of fantasy in there, and that kind of disqualifies them sometimes, you know. But it was rare that obviously like Star Wars got nominated, and but yeah, it'd be rare to find a fantasy movie. That's why again, Black Panther was such a shock to be up for Best Picture.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be cool to see, like a true, like, I mean, a sci-fi fantasy category I mean, they did add recently the best animated category. So
Yeah.
they're honoring animated movies. Why not honor best comedy? I mean, I think comedy movies they make a lot of money, and and you're right, the Globes has it. So I don't know.
It's weird.
But congratulations to all the winners there of the Saturn Awards. And then, of course, now you got some news here that I wasn't really aware of till I started looking for this stuff.
Uh-oh.
But apparently, well, you know this, Bob Iger, came on and talked about Disney's earnings on the first quarter earnings call for Disney. So everybody that basically is a shareholder, I think, can be on there and listen to this. Apparently, he gave a quick rundown of the company's upcoming theatrical slate through 2026. He listed movies confirmed for 2024, 25, and 26 and beyond, listing Lucasfilm's The Mandalorian and Grogu in that later group. So even though it does go into production, apparently confirmed that it goes into production in 2024, later this year, it is not set to hit theaters until May of 2026.
It could be that they're planning on pulling a Lord of the Rings where they film both the TV show and the film at the same time, but they plan on the TV show coming out 2025 and then the movie come out in 2026.
Mm-hmm. That's very true. I like that. He mentions that also Disney Plus, upcoming Disney Plus series, which it does include The Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. Apparently, he did leave out the animated shows like The Bad Batch and Tales of the Jedi.
Interesting.
But I'm sure he's talking more about the high-profile ones everybody really expecting, and looking for.
Yeah.
But he also still mentioned that in active development is Daisy Ridley's Rise of Skywalker movie, directed by Charmin Obaid Chinoy, which is getting written by Stephen Knight. And James Mangold is expected to start work on his Star Wars film later this year. And then Dave Filoni will be directing his live-action big screen debut of the New Republic shows that he's been overseeing. So those are all being expected to come. So that's a good sign, I guess.
Yes, absolutely.
And of course, he mentioned things like Avatar and some Marvel stuff, but we're not that podcast, so we won't talk about this.
we don't talk about those shows.
we don't talk about those shows. Yeah. Okay, so then also what came, which was crazy, I did not see this coming, but apparently Donald Glover, who played Lando in Solo, is apparently writing a Lando movie with his brother Steven.
Wasn't that supposed to be a TV show?
It was supposed to be a TV show. It was promoted as one of the TV series that was coming called Lando. And it's been kind of, dead for a while apparently, or just haven't been moved forward because he's doing obviously a lot of other things. But he has been writing this. Now this came out because he's promoting his new Netflix series, Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yes.
Based on the movie that Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie did. He plays Mr. Smith in that episode, or that series on Prime.
Yes.
But he says, but he talks about it, that he's working on it. And he loves the character, loves his kids, love Star Wars, so
Aww.
He has agreed to come back apparently and do it. Now again, this is him talking, so this isn't a Lucasfilm announcement or anything like that. I have no idea if it's actually going to happen, but
I don't know. I feel
are you
like
wanting a Lando film?
I think it'd be cool to learn more about him. I'm more excited about Donald Glover because he's so talented.
Right.
Absolutely incredible. I think he was in Community, and he's just so. I think because of that, I'm excited for it. Do we need it? I don't know, but I also feel like he's not the type of guy. Like, I don't know him. I'm not his friend or anything, but he doesn't seem like the type of guy to say something without at least being fairly confident that it's going to happen. So, do you want a Lando movie?
I don't know. And I agree with you right there that I think I do think he's in a unique position right now because he's been so successful. Like his series, I think his series Atlanta just wrapped, like his final season a little bit ago. And, he's done a bunch of movies and done this show now on Prime. I think he's at a point right now in his career, thankfully, where a lot of people don't get to. I think he can, if he wants to make a Lando movie, they'll probably make it for him because he's very high profile right now, I feel like. And like you said, he's very talented. Everybody knows he's talented. Mm-hmm. And so now, I think, do I want it? I don't know.
I don't think any of us have ever thought, you know what would be great? A Lando Calrissian movie.
Yeah.
So
and it's just weird to think if there's a movie of him and there's no Han Solo or no Chewbacca or no Millennium Falcon, because technically he doesn't have the Falcon unless this is going to be before that movie. But that movie now is 5 years old now probably, so it's like you can't really go backwards too much.
What if? Okay, this might be crazy. This might be crazy. But
Okay.
what if it follows him after Return of the Jedi? and we get more of his side of the story leading into Shadow of the Sith.
That would be great. I just don't. I don't think they do anything past the original trilogy, though.
No, okay.
Because they could. It's possible, but I don't think they will. Just because I think they'll honor that. That's Billy D. Williams' likeness.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but okay. So now that you say that, I'm like, yeah, I don't. Maybe it's about his friendship with Solo or something. I don't know.
I wonder if because which I think would be neat, I guess, is the movie that we got was called Solo, but had Lando in it.
Oh, okay.
So maybe this movie is Lando and has Solo in it, right? So you're right. Like we saw Solo's origin. Maybe this is going to be Lando's origin. Again, is that what we need? And maybe just could have done it in a novel, But
that would be cool.
Yeah, right.
But
Which is very, we did. Did you ever read the Last Shot? Did you read Last Shot?
Last Shot.
I don't think you did.
That's not the one about Poe. That's
No, it's the Han and Lando story.
No, I have not read that one yet.
Okay, it's pretty good. I actually liked it, and it basically takes place post Return of the Jedi and flashbacks around. I think before Solo, I think it's before Solo, because I think he still had the Millennium Falcon.
Okay.
And then it was post Return of the Jedi. So there was because I think Ben was a baby or something like that in it. So It does flashbacks. It's pretty good. It was pretty decent, I thought. So if there is an origin story there, yeah, I don't know. It'll just be whether or not it's a good story or not.
Yep, and I think you and I can agree that the only reason why we are even remotely excited about it is because of Donald Glover.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so that is apparently in the works. Again, this is his words, not Lucasfilm's, not Disney's. Don't know if that's going to actually happen or not. We'll just have to see.
Hope so.
Hope so. So that is all the kind of current news. Of course, we're 2 weeks away from the Bad Batch debuting with 3 episodes. And I did notice, hanging on the schedule, there was 2 other times when there's 2 episodes.
I did notice that too, and I thought that was odd. I don't know if that's because they're trying to space it out because of when Tales of the Jedi is supposed to come out.
Yeah, I did notice. I think you're right. I think that's right, because I think I noticed that the last episode of the series airs on May 1st, which means everything wraps before Star Wars Day. And then maybe Star Wars Day is the time to start moving on to something else,
That's probably it.
Like we get maybe the Acolyte trailer, or we get some news of when Skeleton Crew is coming out. I don't know.
Please. Anything.
Yeah, I'm dying for something from Acolyte. It is.
Please just give us something.
Yes.
Oh man.
Okay. Publications coming out. Let's go through that a little bit. The next novel coming out is Defy the Storm. That's coming out March 12th. And then you've got The Living Force, April 9th. Temptation of the Force, which is High Republic, June 11th. The Glass Abyss, the Mace Windu novel, August 6th. And Tears of the Nameless, September 3rd. Comics this past week, you had Star Wars 42 and Obi-Wan Kenobi number 5. Next week, or actually, no, this week also, the debut of the Mace Windu comic written by Mark Bernardin. That is out right now, too, as well. Darth Vader 43 next week. Week after that, Star Wars 43. And at the end of the month, Thrawn Alliances number 2. That is that adaptation comic from the novel, Thrawn Alliances.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there you go. Now, we'll talk a little bit of a downer here at the end about Carl Weathers. Unfortunately, he has passed away at the young age of 76.
May rest in peace.
Yeah, which is unbelievable. I mean, it's one of them things where it seems like, I haven't read too much about or tried to find too much about what his cause of death was, because I don't know. Do you know what his cause of death was?
I don't.
Yeah,
but
I don't know if they
figure it
even
out.
revealed it. Because usually you find it in feeds and stuff like that, but it's not. I don't think it's really out there. Which says to me that it was something he was trying to keep private, whatever it was. Because he was, it seemed like he was a pretty healthy dude.
I was about to say, you seemed it.
Yeah. But it's one of the things like Chadwick Boseman, who played the Black Panther, he hid the fact that he had cancer while he was shooting. It's crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah. So I don't know if this was the same case where he was kind of hiding the fact that he had a disease or he had something that was slowly taking him.
If he had anything, his family didn't want anybody to know because they say he died peacefully in his sleep.
Yeah, right.
Which, could very well be the case. It could have just been, it was his time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could have had, my mom actually passed away in her sleep because of a brain aneurysm.
Oh.
So could have been, I'm not saying it is, but could have been something like that where something just unexpectedly happened while they were sleeping.
Yeah, I've had a friend who lost her father, and it was because it was like a heart murmur that just suddenly, overnight, he just stopped breathing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Now, I will always remember him as Apollo Creed.
Yes.
I grew up a huge Rocky fan. I love the movie. I love the second movie. I love the third. I love all, maybe not the fifth one so much, but I love all the Rocky movies. And, that's all I knew. But it's like one of them things where, growing up, like Christopher Reeve played Superman and he was always Superman to me.
Yes.
Carl Weathers was always Apollo Creed to me, no matter what he was in. He was in the Predator with Schwarzenegger, which was obviously a big movie too. And of course, even in there, I was like, that's Apollo Creed in this movie, But it's he's been in and out of stuff for years, because that was back in the 70s, 80s. But, he'd do stuff here and there. Obviously, Happy Gilmore was another role that loved him in.
Great movie.
Great movie. He did a movie called Action Jackson in the late 80s. But, it was so long, and then all of a sudden, here comes Carl Weathers in Star Wars and playing Greef Karga, this bounty hunter, head of the bounty hunter guild. And I know Favreau, Favreau and Filoni, I think Filoni's close to my age. I think Favreau's a little older than me. But obviously those guys were Rocky fans as well. To even consider, getting a guy like, because I think they requested Carl to play Greef, just like they requested Pedro to play Mando, and at the time Gina Carano to play Cara Dune. And they knew who they wanted. They were big fans of these people. And Carl just, he was great. I thought he did great, and it's going to be unfortunate going forward. And I don't want to sound, I don't want to sweep this under the rug, but it seems that at this point in the storyline of The Mandalorian, we can't go on right now without the character of Grief Karga. I don't think his story was left that open, in a sense. Do you feel that way?
Oh, I completely feel that way. I feel like his story came to a close, and I don't think that was purposely done. I think it was just like, yeah, no, his story's done, and maybe he'll make a cameo appearance later on, but not going to happen anymore, which is really, really sad. I thought he did a great job. I know, death is a thing, but it's just always kind of heartbreaking whenever it's a part of something you love.
It is.
And I think it would have been cool to see him just come back as a cameo or whatever in future projects. But I think this is going to be different than the whole Rey situation, because at least with this, his story has come to an end.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to worry about that.
Right.
But I feel bad even saying that,
Yeah.
So when you first saw him, I just
Yeah.
had a question, because earlier you said all you saw him was Apollo Creed. So when you saw him in Mandalorian, was that the first thought that came into your head, or did his role in Mandalorian eclipse Apollo Creed?
Well, it's funny because I remember them announcing, the cast, and I saw them mention Carl Weathers, and of course my mind just went to Apollo Creed. But when I went to Star Wars Celebration, I think it was in Chicago, and they debuted, the first look at The Mandalorian, and I saw the first footage that was played. It wasn't a trailer or anything. It was just kind of the first scene. It was that scene where he walks into the client, and the client, Werner Herzog, and gives him that best car and all that stuff. And there was a couple fast clips, and they showed Carl and they showed Gina Carano and all that stuff. And then later on, they brought him out. And when he walked out, I got to say, I didn't go immediately to Apollo because, he's got this big gray beard, and the Apollo Creed that I remember is this young and just fit, boxer, so
Right.
he has turned into Carl Weathers, I guess, for me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just because I can't even remember the last time I saw him in a movie, really, besides maybe Happy Gilmore. I don't know what I'm sure he's done stuff. I just haven't seen it.
Well, maybe what it is he kind of was wanting to do independent films, things that weren't quote unquote big, for a lack of a better way to say it. And maybe Favreau and Filoni came up to him and said, "Hey,
totally.
What do you think?"
Yes, I totally agree. It's one of them things where it was, they were sitting around thinking, who do we love from our childhood that oh my gosh, Carl Weathers, I just think that I think that kind of crossed their mind for sure, I'm interested in this for you is, so when I was younger, I just thought of this the other day because I think I was at dinner or something like that when I heard this news, and I was a little emotional. I held it in because I was out in public, but because Carl is one of them things. Carl Weathers is one of those people that I just knew all my life. You know, it's one of them. It's just a person that I followed and I adored. And I remember being younger and seeing my dad lose some of his recognizable heroes or people that his big one was John Wayne. He
Mm.
loved John Wayne. And, you know, there's other, I can't think off the top of my head, there's other actors, and Ronald Reagan actually he was a big admirer of Ronald Reagan. So I started thinking, I remember thinking back then, even, like there's going to be a point when I'm older and I start losing the people that I watched and admired and looked up to. And I was kind of curious, and I can name some of them first if you want, but I was curious, who are those people to you that you know at some point you're going to feel bad and feel sad when they go?
Well, I can tell you right now because I was working in news overnight when I found out. I cried at work when Carrie Fisher died,
Oh,
and then when
yes.
Debbie Reynolds quickly followed. Like that was a double whammy for me. Um, I
Wow, yeah.
think, yeah, and Prince was another one that got me really, really hard. I think
But who
Chadwick.
are some right now that are
Yeah.
alive that you, yeah.
I swear, if I say any right now that you're like, oh yeah, they died, I'm gonna freak out.
God, I hope not.
Julie Andrews,
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I think she's still alive.
she's still alive. Dick Van Dyke is still kicking.
Wow. Yeah.
Yep, I love Dick
You're
Van Dyke.
going like those are older people,
I know,
older
but
people that,
I kind of grew up with those classics. I guess I don't know. Like part of me wants to say Kermit the Frog, even though I know Jim Henson is gone.
yeah.
But if Kermit were to die, I'd die inside. No, that's a really, really good question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, those two are immediates. I do have to say Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford are up there too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like, oh, this is really, really hard.
Well, here, I'll name a few
Yeah,
I'll name a few of
please
mine.
do, as I'm thinking.
Um, yeah, I'm with you. I definitely teared up. I think I'll tear up for any of the Star Wars cast. You know, Carrie definitely, and I think it goes without saying Harrison and Mark. It'll be bad days for me.
Mm-hmm.
But even worse for me will be George Lucas, for
Ah,
sure.
yeah.
Like that would be a really, I'll have to take off work, I'm sure, because that's going to be tough. Because just the the joy I get from doing this, and just how much Star Wars has been a part of my life. I mean, I can't deny that. So definitely him. Michael Jordan for me. He was a big
Mm.
hero of mine growing up because I loved playing basketball, and he was the guy I watched, and um, I followed his career shortly after he got into the NBA, and I still follow him. I still find out what he's doing and all that. And then, to be honest, like on the act, like just celebrity side a little bit, because that's kind of my sports thing.
Yeah.
The celebrity side, to be honest, like Tom Hanks is. I grew up with Tom Hanks, like watching all of his movies, and really following his career because I loved Big, I loved Forrest Gump, Philadelphia, Saving Private Ryan, like I loved through the '90s. That's kind of I was Tom Hanks all over the place, and I really followed him, and that would be pretty devastating.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So people like that for me.
Yeah, I don't even want to think about it.
No, yeah. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, but at some point it's weird how, you get older, it's like it is part of, it's like what Yoda says, death is a part of life, and it's horrible, it sucks, but we do have to celebrate these people, and that the legacy and the life that they left behind, and you just pray that one day people will do the same for you, so,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Uh, who lives, who dies, who tells your story?
Yeah, that's right. When Carl was born in 1948, I mean, that seems so long ago, even though he was 76 years young.
Wow.
But
That's nuts.
yeah, my parents were born in 1940. So they were older than he was, obviously, but he was an NFL linebacker for the Raiders. I mean, he is just he did a lot. He did a lot.
He
And
lived a life.
and then the spin-off series Creed. The movies Creed came out by Michael B. Jordan. That just revitalized again my love for those movies, because it was about Creed's son, and there was times in there that he referenced his father, and Rocky was obviously in those movies, so there was a lot about Apollo in that, so it was cool
Yeah.
that they continued the legacy, even though Apollo Creed was dead in that series, in that timeline. But it was great life. I think he will be missed, and
Yes. His legacy will continue.
oh yeah, it just sucks, because I mean, we just recently talked about Ray Stevenson,
Yeah.
and now we've got Carl Weathers, so it's so. But that's a different situation where his character was, Balin Skull was still.
Yeah.
Seemed like we had a lot more to tell of him, so I don't think with Carl it's going to be a situation where they're going to try to recast him or anything like that.
No, it's just going to kind of.
Yeah.
Just going to kind of not go away, but they might throw in a line where it's like, oh no, he died trying to save the town or something like that.
I was just about to say, I feel like that's what they will do is, when whatever time we catch up, like he would have passed away by then, I think.
Yeah. I think
you're right. I think that's right. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Thrawn Addict on our last episode where we kind of talked about Mace Windu and things like that. He said, looking forward to the Mace Windu comic and novel. I feel like we really don't know much about him and would like to learn more about his past and find out why he is the way he is. I think I mentioned before that Mace seemed pretty harsh and dismissive in the prequels and not overly a likable character. If it wasn't for his action scenes and being played by Sam Jackson, I'm not sure how favored he would be with the fandom. As a kid, though, I must admit I thought he was badass, but I'd like to see perhaps a more compassionate side. I do like the idea of a movie being set straight after episode 3 straight after episode 3, but I think too much time has passed and Sam Jackson might be a bit too old for this sort of role now. Not without deepfake. He wasn't great in his last outing as Nick Fury in Secret Invasion Marvel series. Maybe a recast down the line or animated Jedi Tales story. Yeah. I agree with you, David. It was a story that was the issue with the sequels and not the writing or performances. So hard to say if they would be looked back on better with time. I appreciate them more even after 5 to 10 years, so you never know. But when looking back after any period of time, you can see Force Awakens was a very much a similar story to A New Hope, and played it quite safe. And then Last Jedi went in a different direction with some bold choices a lot of people didn't like. and Rise of Skywalker was rushed, and you could tell J.J. Abrams was trying to fix plot issues from the previous 2 films. So a bit of a mess. The prequels, however, have a clear story throughout and easy to go back and can at least laugh at some of the wooden acting. Really enjoyed the bit of the commentary I saw and listened to. I'm unable to find the commentary, though. Will you be uploading it to YouTube or Patreon? Thanks again. Looking forward to the Attack of the Clones commentary. May the Force be with you. Yes, it will be on YouTube here soon. Probably, hopefully by the time I put this out, it'll be out there, but you will see it on there. And along with a new fan trailer that I cut together for the episode 1 movie. I like this one a lot, actually. So,
all right,
pretty
I can't
impressed
wait.
with myself.
Also, I do have to agree. I was not a fan. I know I said this before, but I wasn't a fan of Mace in the beginning. But that's also because I was young. I didn't know who Samuel L. Jackson was. My first introduction to him was Mace Windu. Like I didn't know who he was. So
Yeah.
So I agree. At first I was like, wow, what a jerk. What a stuck-up Jedi. Ugh. Smile, dude. Smile.
Yeah, I remember them announcing the casting, and I was thinking, oh, yeah, this is going to be cool. Because I was very well versed in who Sam Jackson was by then. But he does, to me, like, I still don't think he's actually looked that much different than when he was back then. I mean, the guy doesn't age.
Between him and Elijah Wood, they must share that ring.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
They have to. Like, there's no other explanation.
I mean, Sam can look older when he grows the beard out, and it's got a little gray in it, but he shaves it off. Oh, man. Yeah.
I'm like, so where's the Fountain of Youth, my dude? And where can I find it?
Absolutely. And I think, and then I think Darth Essenham said, nice shirt, Dave. The shirt I was wearing, which was I think it was the Arabesh.
Yep.
Yeah. So you can actually go to InsideTheForce.com and click on shop, and actually you can buy that shirt if you want.
Merch.
It's up on it's on our merch store. So, and Darth and Thrawn, who are master patrons, let me know if you want something on there, because I've got a promo code for y'all. So, yeah. Anyway, and I'm working on trying to get some more stuff on there, more shirts on there, and that'll be coming as soon as I get some new designs to get up there. Okay, thank you all, as usual, for listening, for being with us. We'll be back here next week, and then, of course, in a couple weeks, we'll have something to really talk about, which is a brand new series, The Bad Batch, coming back. And I do need to, I want to go back and I might try to catch up with some episodes this week or something like that. I need to rewatch some.
With what time?
Well, true. I don't sleep that much. You know that. I mean, sometimes
do you have Hermione's time turner over there or something that I can borrow?
Right. Yeah, no. It's gonna be tough. I say I'm gonna try, but I probably won't be able to. Yeah. We'll see. Hannah, thank you as always.
Dave, thank you as always.
Thanks everybody. Again, happy Star Wars podcast day, week. Go listen to as many Star Wars podcasts as you can. And be back here next week for a new episode of Inside the Force, and go to our YouTube channel for our brand new commentary and other shows on the channel. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. See you next week. May the Force be with you.